We're going to be in Jonah chapter 4, and today is the last day of the Relentless series. And so we'll be in Jonah chapter 4 in a moment. I do want to tell you where we're going. Beginning next week, we're going to begin a series in the book of Romans. And what that'll look like, we're going to divide the book of Romans into 4 sections. And we'll have 4, for lack of a better term, mini-series on Romans. But it's probably going to take us through the rest of the series that will be in the book of Romans. And so be thinking about that. Maybe be reading Romans and preparing your heart and see how God's going to speak to you and also to us as a church and Paramount as a whole for this great book. But this morning we're going to finish Jonah. But before I get to chapter 4, I'm going to read to you Luke chapter 15, verses 11 through 32, because there's a parallel here that we need to see. And so let me read you a story you're familiar with, the story of the prodigal son. And so a young man had 2 sons, and the younger of them came to his father and said, "Father, give me a share of the estate that I have coming to me." So he distributed the assets to them. And not many days later, the younger son gathered together all that he had, and he traveled to a distant country where he squandered his estate in foolish living. After he had spent everything, a severe famine struck that country, and he had nothing. Then he went to work for one of the citizens of that country. He sent him into the field to feed his pigs. And he longed to eat from the pods the pigs were eating, but no one would give him any. And when he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired hands have more than enough food, and here I'm dying of hunger? I'll get up and I'll go to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired hands.' So he got up and went to his father, but while the son was a long way off, the father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran, he threw his arms around his neck, and he kissed him. And his son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father told his slaves, 'Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Then bring a fattened calf and slaughter it, and let's celebrate with a feast, because this son of mine was dead, but he's alive again. He was lost and is found.' So they began to celebrate." Now I want you to pause right here. The story ends here. It's a great story. If Jonah ends in Jonah chapter 3, it's a great story. But let me read on in Luke 15. Now his older son, this is the brother who didn't leave, the older son was the older brother here, was in the field, and he came to the house, and he heard music, and he heard dancing. And so he summoned one of the servants, and he asked him, "What do all these things mean?" Your brother is here," they told him. "Your father has slaughtered a fattened calf, and because he is back and he's safe and he's sound here with us." The brother became very angry and didn't want to go in. So his father came out and pleaded with him. He replied to his father and says, "Look, I've been slaving many years for you. I've never disobeyed your orders. You never gave me a young goat so I could go celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, it was devoured all his assets with prostitutes. He slaughtered a fattened calf for him. Son," he said to him, "you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and rejoice because the brother of yours was dead. He's alive again. He was lost, but now he's found." The older brother in that story of the prodigal son is angry. And what he's angry about is grace. He's angry about grace. Because his younger brother, who had went and squandered and made terrible decisions and all these things, when he came home, what the older brother wanted would be judgment. Father, judge him, rebuke him, make things bad on him, make him a servant, do all these things. But instead, the father gave him grace. And so the older brother was angry about that grace. When we get to Jonah chapter 4 now, it's the same story. Different character. His name is Jonah, but he's the same guy. Jonah is the older brother. He's angry about grace. Jonah is a Pharisee who wants judgment He wants judgment against everybody except himself, by the way. He wants judgment against everybody. He's angry about grace. And so the older brother, the prodigal son, and Jonah are the same guy. But what we have to guard against, as we examine our hearts this morning, is that same disease. Do we get angry when God shows grace to others? So if you're in Jonah chapter 4, and if you'll stand with me in honor of God's word, I'm going to read the chapter, the entire chapter of Jonah chapter 4. The word of God says this. But Jonah was greatly displeased and became furious. He prayed to the Lord, please, Lord, isn't this what I said while I was still in my own country? That's why I fled towards Tarshish in the first place. I knew that you are merciful and compassionate God, slow to become angry, rich in faithful love, with one who relents from sending disaster. And now, Lord, please take my life from me, for it is better for me to die than to live. The Lord asked, is it right for you to be angry? Jonah left the city and he sat down east of it. He made himself a shelter there and sat in its shade to see what would happen to the city. Then the Lord God appointed a plant, and it grew up and provided shade over Jonah's head to ease his discomfort. Jonah was greatly pleased with the plant. When dawn came the next day, the Lord appointed a worm, and it attacked the plant, and it withered. As the sun was rising, God appointed a scorching east wind, and the sun beat down on Jonah's head so that he almost fainted, and he wanted to die. And he said, it is better for me to die than to live. Then God asked Jonah, is it right for you to be angry about the plant? Yes, he replied, it is right. I'm angry enough to die. So the Lord said, you cared about the plant which you did not labor over, did not grow. It appeared in a night and perished in a night. Should I not care about the great city of Nineveh, which has more than 120,000 people, which cannot distinguish between right and their left, as well as many animals? Let's pray. Father, thank you for your word. And Father, I pray today that as we examine our own hearts, Lord, we would not be the elder brother. Lord, we would not be the Pharisee. We would not be Jonah. We would not be angry about grace. So Lord, would you teach us what it means to have a heart of grace? Would you teach us to have a heart that reflects your heart of grace? So redeem this time, protect this time. We trust you for it in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Be seated. And so we're setting the scene. Some of you haven't been here for the last 3 weeks looking at Jonah and maybe not are familiar with the story, but the scene is this, that God comes to his prophet there in Israel and says, I want you to go to Nineveh to preach to the Ninevites, that their wickedness has risen up before me. And Jonah, who's a Hebrew, he's a nationalist, he's proud to be an American, except he was an Israelite, but that's what's going on here. That, he wore his, and again, it didn't exist, but he wore his Israeli flag shirt and hat, and he had a bumper sticker on his chariot and all that. He was serious. That's who he was. He was proud to be a Jew, proud to be an Israeli. He was proud of that. And so, God asked him to go preach to the people in Canada. Is that bad enough, or are we going to be worse than that? What's the country? Well, it's Iraq, of course. Okay, that's where he asked him to go. In Nineveh, it's in Iraq now. He asked him to go to a people that he hated, the people that his country did not like. Okay, so there was some nationalistic, in the 80s, in the 70s, and the 60s, during the Cold War, that'd have been who? The Russians, right? Yeah. So it came out of everything. In the Olympics, we needed to beat the Russians. In the space race, we needed to beat the Russians. When I was in high school, I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. Then when I was in high school, a rocket fuel plant in Henderson, Nevada, that was not too far from our high school, one of the reactors exploded. And I was in school, and the building was shaking, the ceiling's falling in, and then another reactor explodes. And so all this is going on. You've probably seen the videos of it over the years in the late 80s when it happened. So we go outside, and the windows are busted in our lunchroom, and we see these mushroom clouds. And here's what we thought. The Russians are on us. We didn't know there was a rocket fuel plant in Henderson, Nevada. Nobody knew. There was 2 of them next door to each other. They said if the big reactor went off, it would have been like a nuclear bomb hitting Las Vegas. it would have been devastating. But only 3 of the smaller reactors went off. But we're looking to the skies looking for warplanes because that was the era in which we were in high school in the 80s, and we thought the Russians were bombing Las Vegas. I'm not sure why they've been bombing Las Vegas. There is some strategic parts there, but Henderson's probably not one of them. Except for the rocket fuel plants I found out about. But that was, some of you can relate to that. And so Jonah was called to go to his sworn enemies. Enemies that people who wanted to kill him, people who they hated. And that's where Jonah was called to go to the Ninevites. These were very violent people. They tortured their enemies. They tortured their captives. They skinned them alive, those kind of things. That's who Jonah was called to go to, and he was none too happy about it. And so he got on a boat, and he took off. He went down to Joppa, got on a boat, and he took off. And basically told God no. A great storm comes. And this was an actual picture there on the screen of the storm. That's a bad joke, but thank you for the courtesy laughter. But a great storm comes, and the people on the boat don't know what's going on. Ends up, Jonah's the reason God's destroying this, sent this storm, so they throw Jonah overboard. And God provides for him. Because Jonah's ready to die, than to be obedient. By the way, it says that at the end of chapter 4. And so chapter 1, you have a rebellious Jonah refusing to do God's plan. Gets thrown over to a certain death, gets swallowed by a great fish, which is double death. And God used that great fish to spare him. And then Jonah has this prayer in chapter 2 of thanksgiving and praise and all this. And so you've got Jonah running from God, getting disobedient to a chapter 2 where Jonah's blessing God and thanking him. So then what happens? He goes in chapter 3 and he preaches to Nineveh. The other people, Jonah's rebellious, Nineveh's rebellious. He responds and prays. So Nineveh's rebellious and they repent. So chapter 4 should be praise. Okay? As the story unfolds, it's tracking in a logical pattern. So chapter 4 should be praise. Jonah's praising, Nineveh's praising, everybody's praising. But like the story of the prodigal son, where this great celebration, there's an awkward pivot at the end that doesn't fit. Here comes an angry guy, angry and praise. And that's where we find Jonah right here. And verse 1 says it this way. Jonah was greatly displeased and became furious. He's angry. He just saw a mass revival. Okay, he should be writing books and selling books and going on the speaking circuit about what just happened. I mean, understand, this is outside, this is supernatural what has happened. For a couple of reasons. These were people so wicked. Now, understand, in a world of wickedness, this was a different level of wickedness. So now, the wickedness of the wicked have a revival or have an awakening. People are getting saved. The king and everybody's in sackcloth and ashes and they're repenting and begging the Lord to forgive them. But the message came from a guy they hate. And a guy who hates them. So there's all these things, and this should never have happened. So there should be a great cause for celebration. Instead, we find Jonah greatly displeased and furious. He's angry about God's grace towards the Ninevites. Jonah wasn't angry that he didn't get his way. Because what Jonah wanted was for God to burn them all. Right? You ever ask God to kill some people? Right? We've all had some judgmental hearts, some angry hearts, and said, God, if we just kill all of them, this world will be a better place. Now, I hope it's not just me who's done that. Have you done that? Maybe it's just me, okay. But the reality is this, we've been angry, and I'm not talking about some guy cut you off. You're asking God to judge that, you got problems, you need some counseling. But I mean, like, we hear about stuff going on, and you're like, man, that's God, if you just judge them, if you would do something bad to them, maybe not ask God to kill them, but we've all been giving God advice on how to handle people before. Is what I'm saying, right? Jonah had advice for God. I want you to judge them. I want you to wipe them out. They're wicked people. And he didn't get his way. And he's displeased and he's angry. An old pastor and also the chaplain of the Senate for years, Lloyd Ogilvie said this question. He asked this question in reference to Jonah. But he asks about us. Was our conversion, meaning our conversion in Christ, a radical transformation from self-centered willfulness, or was it an effort to recruit God to help us accomplish our goals? Let me read it again. Was our conversion a radical transformation from self-centered willfulness, or was our conversion an effort to recruit God to help us accomplish our own goals? See, sometimes we forget that we're not God, and that God's not our servant. And that when he calls us to himself, he calls us to his plan. Even if we don't understand his plan, even if we don't like his plan, and even if we don't like the people he gives grace to. What God's continually doing in our lives is transforming our heart to look like his heart. That our heart needs to look like our Father's heart. So it's a constant transforming. That's what Romans says in Romans 12, 1 and 2. A renewing of your minds daily. That a renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God in Romans 12, 2. And so the understanding is this, that there's a constant transformation of our hearts and minds. That's why the Christian life is a daily battle. Okay? It's not we get saved and then we'll keep doing things our way. It's every day that I'm working out my salvation. The Bible says with fear and trembling. But every day God's working in my life. Because yesterday's obedience does not cover today. And today's obedience is not going to cover tomorrow. One day Jonah preaches and a whole city comes to the Lord. The next day he's angry. See, we need daily submission to the Lord, daily submission to his plan, daily obedience to what God has called us to do. But Jonah was sitting there angry. And here's what he's angry about. Look at verse 2. Verse 2 might be one of the most ironic verses in the Bible. This is what's going on here. So he prays. He prays to the Lord. It's an interesting Hebrew word he uses there. One of the translations of that word, besides prayer as we know it, is a judgment. And Jonah's praying, a little bit angry against the Lord. I don't want to go so far as to say Jonah's judging the Lord, but it looks a whole lot like him. Here's angry Jonah praying. And by the way, I want to be real clear. God's big enough to handle your anger. Okay? Sometimes in our anger, when we're frustrated, we don't understand what God is doing, and we come to the Lord in anger. God's big enough to handle your anger. But also, your heart needs to be soft enough to handle his answer. And so sometimes, in our anger, it is right to go to the Lord, because we're asking the Lord, I'm angry, I don't understand this. And it's not always selfish anger. Sometimes there's righteous indignation, anger of what's going on, and you're praying to the Lord, and your heart's broken, and you're angry about the situation. The Lord can handle that. He prayed to the Lord, please, Lord, isn't this what I said while I was in my own country? You remember, Lord, when you came and called me, Jonah, get up, go and preach the Ninevites? Remember what I told you, Lord? I don't want to do that. Because you're not going to judge him. You're going to be gracious. I'm paraphrasing here. I'm not going because you're going to show him grace. I don't want any part of that. Lord, this is what I said while I was in my own country. That's why. By the way, he's really honest. Okay, and you might as well be honest with the Lord because he knows anyway. So let's go ahead and be honest with him. Jonah's not hiding anything right here. This is why I didn't want to do this for him. That's why I fled towards Tarshish in the first place. Here's what he describes the Lord as. This is awesome right here. I knew that you're a merciful and compassionate God. I'm angry about that mercy and compassion, Lord. I knew that you were slow to become angry. By the way, that ought to be, Jonah should be amen in that here. Because he's angry at him. God thinks you're slow to be angry, but as he goes, slow to become angry, rich in faithful love, and the one who relents from sending disaster. God, I knew that you were really good. I knew that your goodness and your mercy is unbelievable. Your goodness and your grace is overflowing. And that you've got a heart of love. God, I knew that about you. I just didn't want you showing it to them. I don't mind you showing it to me and the people I like. Joshua spoke about that. He talked about, and here, by the way, when he talked about the statistic of churches not being diverse, And we need to express our unity in diversity. And he wasn't just, and the issue is not just racial diversity, it's economic diversity, political diversity, all these kind of things. We want to surround ourselves in unity with people who are just like us. The standard for diversity, it means that any church that has less than 80% of one group. That's a pretty low standard. Okay? That if you have 10 people, 7 of them need to look different. Or 3 of them, I mean. And so it's a low standard of diversity that we're not even achieving. And that's the issue sometimes. We want God's mercy and grace in us, and maybe even on people we like, but we're angry about it when it shows to somebody else. That's literally what Jonah is saying here. That God drew this merciful and compassionate God, slow to anger, rich in faithful love, one who relents from sin and disaster. Jonah is literally a man who is angry because the guy who gave him $1 million gave somebody else $1 million he didn't like. That's literally what's going on here. That this guy gave me $1 million, and I'm angry. I'm not happy about the $1 million he gave me. I'm angry because he also gave the same gift to somebody else I didn't like. So Jonah doesn't mind God's goodness and grace given to him in his rebellion. By the way, we're not saying God might have done that for him sometime in his life. We've already read it happened to him. This is the guy who went and told God no, and went as far away as could, almost kills a whole boat full of people in his sin. And then, is thrown overboard, ready to die. And God, in his gracious and his mercy, all this, sends this great fish. And then gives him a second chance to be obedient. The same God that showed him that grace, the same God that had a heart of grace towards him, he was angry because that God had a heart of grace towards others. Forgetting that those who receive grace should extend grace. Again, that our heart should reflect God's heart, and God has a heart of grace. So verse 2 is just a fascinating verse to me because he says, God, you're so good, and I'm angry about you're so good. Well, he's angry that he's so good to others. Verse 3. And again, he's already told us he's angry. He's already told us he's furious, and now here's what he says. After saying all this, here's what Jonah thinks would be a good idea. Verse 3. And now, Lord, please take my life from me, for it's better for me to die than to live. That his hatred was so deep that he'd rather die than see God show his grace towards him. I have to be a witness of that. And I want to take verse 3 seriously because this theme comes up in Jonah over and over. And we live in a world that is increasingly plagued by suicide. Yes. It's a curse in our young people. And it's a curse in our world. And every day you're reading a high school student here in town or an adult, of this going on. And people get to a point in their life where they think that that's a better answer than what they're facing. And Satan wants to whisper those lies in believers' ears, but also in the ears of the world. And depression and these battles that people face. And depression is the ultimate lie. You remember what Satan does? Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He does that through depression. He does that through anxieties. He does that through different things. But Satan is ultimately a liar. The Bible says he's the father of lies. And he lies to people who are struggling for a situation. And he says, this world would be better without you. Your family would be better without you. This situation would be better without you. And we believe that. And not everybody follows through with that. So sometimes it defeats them anyway. But so many people follow through with that. Not knowing the truth. What people really think about it, what the Lord thinks about it. And understanding in the Lord. The Lord is always gracious and compassionate. He always, his heart of love is greater than anything that we can experience. And if we can ever pull back the curtain in our depression, in a moment where we think the world's better off without us, if we could, we can, but if we can pull off the cover and see what God thinks of us, see what He thinks of that person, it would change our minds. And it ought to be something serious when we know people that are going through struggles. It ought to be something serious. We need to be speaking truth in their lives. We need to be speaking the truth of the gospel in their lives, the truth of God's love in their lives, the truth of forgiveness in their lives, the truth of these things in their lives. We need to be speaking that to people because they're hearing the other things. They're hearing that they're worthless and all these things. That Satan is giving them these lies. Jonah, and that's why I don't want us to take verse 3 lightly. Jonah's wishing death upon himself because of his frustration. Now, he's doing this in sin. I understand that. But I think it's a serious statement that he says. He says it again later. And I think the Lord takes it seriously. And the Lord asks him in verse 4, is it right for you to be angry? Sometimes we've got to step back from the situation we're in and let the Lord ask us some questions. Is it right for you to be angry? And sometimes the answer is yes. But in our own life, the answer here is no. Okay, we understand that. Jonah, it's not right for me to be angry because I showed grace to him. But we got to ask ourselves sometimes, is my anger selfish? Meaning, is it because I'm making this about me and I'm not getting my way? Or is my anger righteous? When Jesus went to the temple and they perverted the temple and they're selling stuff and they're doing this and that, and he comes and what does he do? He turns over the tables and he gets a whip and he's cracking a whip and people are running and scattering and falling over each other and stuff's flying everywhere, birds are going everywhere. You think he did that joyfully? Was he running around laughing, cracking a whip, and singing praises and psalms and quoting scripture? No, he was angry. Righteous anger is different than selfish anger. He was angry because they perverted his father's house. And so if he was angry, the Bible also says be angry and do not what? Sin. Okay, so we can be angry and not sin. But we can also be angry and sin. And sometimes sin against the Lord. And that's what the Lord's asking. He's trying to get him to examine his own heart. Is it right for you to be angry? There's no answer here, by the way. So here's what happened. So Jonah leaves the city. He goes out to the east side of the city. And he makes himself a shelter and set in the shade to see what would happen to the city. Jonah is holding out hope of judgment. So he goes out to the east of the city. There's probably a little bit of a picture here of Christ coming back. When he splits Jerusalem, and he comes in from the east, he's going to come back as a conquering ruler. And probably a little bit of a picture here is him sitting on the east side of the city and his theological understandings. And even though he's not looking at Christ, he knows there's going to be an ultimate judgment. And he's sitting there watching the city. So this picture, he's sitting on a hill overlooking where you can see the city. So he's got this great peripheral view, this view of the city. When you think about Christ sitting likewise over Jerusalem, what is he doing? He's weeping. Weeping over his city that they would come to repentance. He's weeping over Jerusalem. Jonah's weeping. Weeping that they came to repentance. So he's up there angry, sitting there. But it's hot. By the way, he's in Iraq. He's hot. And so he builds this little shelter for himself for shade to give him some relief from the sun as he's waiting for God to change his mind and judge this great city. I want you to see that Jonah's shelter was not adequate. And there's a point that's going to be made here. And so in verse 6 it says, then the Lord appointed a plant. This is a supernatural event that happens right here. Or a miracle, if you will. And he drew it to provide shelter. Sorry, I was looking at my watch and realized we were a lot later in the service than I thought we were. Oh, thank you. Okay. That's good to know. But we must first have the Lord's Supper. text. Verse 6, it says, so the Lord appointed his plan, and he grew up and provided shelter over Jonah's head. And he was pleased. Jonah was greatly pleased with the plan. So let's get this picture. Jonah goes out, he builds him a shelter, providing him sun. That shelter was insufficient. It was not adequate. And so God supernaturally has a plan. Plants don't, BJ will know this, plants do not just appear and grow. And obviously it's a plant that's going to provide shelter for a man. And so it's large. It just happens like that. It's a supernatural event. God's showing his supernatural provision for Jonah, but he's also showing this, that in our own works, we're inadequate to earn the Lord's favor and his grace. This is a picture of salvation, what's going on here. That Jonah's own works could not provide relief. It could not provide what he was looking for. That only Christ and his grace can provide. Only God and his grace can provide that. So as he's sitting there, and his works had failed him. That no, we can do all the good works in the world, we can't earn God's favor. And so his works had failed him. And so God is supernaturally provides for him. Just showing him, Jonah, I just did this for you. By the way, I did it in the great fish. I just did another miracle right here just for you. You would think, you'd go, golly, I can't believe I was acting like this, Lord, I'm sorry. No. He's still angry. But it's a beautiful picture of salvation. Again, we don't have the power to save ourselves. Only the Lord can provide that grace for us. And so, but watch what happens. So when the next day comes, God appointed a worm and attacked a plant and it withered. So what he provided, he took away. Now I don't want you to take that too far. In thinking about salvation, that God's going to, hey, we're not going to act right, you're going to move our salvation. Our salvation from the very get-go is in the hand of the Lord. Okay? Nobody can snatch us out of his hand, what he said. So I want to be clear about that. And we're not holding on to the Lord, he's holding on to us. And that's why we know we have security. We're secure in Christ and place our faith in him. And so, but God removes that plant, removes that provision, removes that protection. So Jonah didn't work for that. He didn't do anything for that. God is using this for a picture. But when he removes that, he's angry. And so it withered, the sun was rising, God appointed a scorching east wind, the sun beat down on Jonah's head. He almost fainted. He wanted to die. He said, it's better for me to die than live. So here he is again, in deep depression, in deep frustration. And I don't want to be too hard on Jonah. It's easy to looking backwards and point our finger and say, Jonah was, he didn't get it. And I realize I don't get it a lot of times. And so it's easy. If somebody's looking at my life story, they're going, golly, that guy's not very bright. He didn't see the Lord doing this in his life, And so I want us to understand that it's easy to point at Jonah. Jonah is in the midst of a real battle, a real spiritual battle, because everything, we all view the world through lenses of where we grew up, of where our family was, what our race is, what our economic. We view that through lenses. We view the Bible that way. Jonah had been brought up from birth to hate these people. They hated us, we hate them. That's what he was brought up for. He had a distrust of them. We can all imagine some in our own world. When you see these schools in these Arab countries raising their children and they're chanting from a small age to hate the Jews and that kind of stuff, and they're trained with this. And we wonder, why do Arabs hate Jews? Because they've been conditioned and trained in that. And so when we see Jonah, he's been conditioned and trained in that. That was his heart. So he's got this battle of all this he's grown up with and all this he's been taught and everything with that. He's a prophet of God. He loves the Lord. But he's got a war in his heart over what he's grown up with and his traditions and his cultures and all that with what God's truth is. And a lot of times in our cultures, we make God our culture. That we got the great American God. Or it's fill in the blank. That's what we are. Or you've got a great Brazilian God if you live in Brazil, or an African God. And we make God our culture. God's got to tear away from these things in our hearts. Otherwise we have these continual battles of, God, you don't fit my American box, or you don't fit this box. That's what's going on with Jonah. So, though we look at it and go, man, he just didn't get it. The reality is, there's a battle going on, the same battle that we face as well. God, I don't want you to send revival in Russia. I don't want you to send revival in the Middle East. Listen, I want you to do something else. Those people don't deserve it. They're terrorists. God asked Jonah, is it right for you to be angry about the plan? Jonah answers this time, not the right answer, but he does answer. Yes, it's right. And I'm angry enough to die. Third time in this chapter. I'm angry enough to die. I'm going to go back up to verse 2. I'm thankful that the Lord is slow to become angry, and he's rich in faithful love. Because you know what we would do when Jonah's saying that. I was like, okay, that. You know, you would just judge it. Okay. If you don't act like that, you get what you're asking for. We ever said that? That sounds like I've said that before. Give what you're asking for. I'm thankful the Lord doesn't give us everything we ask for. And I'm thankful he's got grace in our lives, and grace in our families, and grace in our nation. 44 plus years now, we've been systematically killing children. Calling them abortion. I'm glad that we've got a God that's slow to anger and didn't give us what we deserve. And I'm still praying for when we see some legislation that's starting to happen. And like I said it last week, we sometimes we give up thinking the right thing has happened. God hasn't given up. And we don't need to give up. But so Jonah's given up here, though. He's struggling. And so the Lord said this. The Lord's going to have the final word of this chapter. You cared about the plant which you did not labor over, and did not grow. It appeared at night and perished at night. He said, you love that plant that I provided for you. You didn't work for that. You didn't even think of that. You didn't do anything for that. God's preaching Jesus. He's preaching salvation. Should I not care? And remember, verse 11 of chapter 4 is the point of Jonah. The book of Jonah. It is the point. It's what it's about. That he asked Jonah, should I not care about the great city of Nineveh, which has more than 120,000 people who cannot distinguish between right and wrong? You care about this plant because it provided this temporary relief, but in the big scheme of things, it's insignificant. Why should I not have a heart for people who are going to burn in eternity, going to be separated from God? They're going to be judged for all eternity in hell. Should that not be a greater point? That we would have a heart for the nations, a heart for the people. That's what God's talking about here. That we've got a heart of grace, and from a heart of grace, we have a heart for the nations. And the nations mean across the street and around the world. That we have a heart for people, a heart of grace for people, because God has a heart of grace for people. And so it's interesting, when we get to the end of chapter 11, it ends in this question. Or chapter 4, verse 11. It ends in this question. Now, I believe Jonah's the author of this, and it's debatable. But I just believe Jonah's the author of it because of the details of it. He's the one who writes it at this point. It ends it with an unanswered question. Now, there's a couple traditions, now we can't prove them, but there's a couple traditions that historians talk about, and theologians talk about Jonah's life. One of those traditions is that he left angry and went back to Jerusalem and died there. The other is that he stayed in Nineveh and never left. Meaning that he ended up having a heart for people. I don't know how Jonah's life ended, but I do know this. That when he ends his chapter with this great question of God, by not answering it, he affirms it. God, you're right. There's no rebuttal here. It's just the chapter ends with God's great word. But I want you to know that chapter ends not just a question of Jonah. The question's for everybody who's ever going to read this, including us. Should God not care about the great cities? Not just Nineveh, but the world. Should God not care about people? He's asking us that question. We have a world that is in need of God's grace. We can't have a church that's angry about God's grace. We can't have the older brother. We can't have the Pharisee. We can't have the Jonas because it goes against God's heart, against what God wants to do. And so we've got a world in need of grace, and so the church can't be angry at that grace. And ultimately, again, it's a heart issue. And we've got to have a heart of grace. Because in doing so, we reflect a Father who has a heart of grace. Let's pray. Father, as I think about this story, Lord, it's amazing to think about. Jonah brags on your goodness, your mercy. That you're slow to anger. that you relent and people repent. Thank you that you're an overwhelmingly good God. You're a God who shows grace. Thank you. Lord, may that grace affect our hearts. First for salvation, and then every day for service. That our heart will reflect your heart. God, that we'd have a heart for the nations, including this nation. A heart for people, including the people of this city. Father, we understand that you're big enough that we can bring our frustrations and our anger to you when we don't understand. We understand that we have grown up in a certain culture in a certain way, and it makes us think certain ways, Lord. Where those ways are right, Lord, I pray that your Holy Spirit would affirm it. But where they're wrong, I pray that we would come under a biblical conviction about what's right. That, Lord, we'd not try to fit you into what we want you to be. But, Lord, you would mold us into what you would have us to be. So I pray for this time of invitation. We're trusting you for it. Would